The night I surprised my husband with news that I bought our first dream home, he stared me in the eye and admitted he's been seeing another woman and has no plans to move in with me. The air was electric that night, crackling with a mix of my nervous excitement and the anticipation of dropping the biggest news of my life. I paced back and forth in the kitchen, my fingers tightening around the wine glass, the chilled Sauvignon Blanc trembling just slightly. This was it. The moment. The culmination of months of secret planning, negotiating with realtors, late-night house hunting binges, and stretching every penny I could muster without raising a single suspicion from my husband, Aaron. The house was perfect, a white two-story colonial tucked on a tree-lined street, complete with a wraparound porch and a backyard big enough for the family we'd dreamed of starting. I glanced at the clock. 7:45 p.m. He was late. Typical. The sound of the key scraping the lock sent a thrill of anticipation through me. I grabbed the manila folder containing the paperwork off the counter and plastered on my biggest smile, ready to watch Aaron's face light up. The door creaked open, and there he was, dressed casually in jeans and a leather jacket. His sandy blonde hair was disheveled, his tie askew. "Hey," he muttered as he kicked off his shoes, avoiding my gaze. "Hey," I chirped, ignoring his mood. "Guess what?" He looked up, tired eyes scanning my face. "What?" "I did something crazy today," I said, holding the folder behind my back. My heart was pounding. "And it's going to change our lives forever." "Ellie, can we do this tomorrow?" he said, loosening his tie and slumping into the armchair. "Nope. Definitely not." "You're going to want to hear this," I said, practically bouncing over to him. "Come on, don't make me beg." He sighed heavily, finally sitting up. "Fine. What is it?" I handed him the folder. "Open it." He frowned but did as I asked, flipping through the pages. I watched his expression, expecting confusion to melt into disbelief and then into joy. "What am I looking at?" he said after a long pause. "That's the deed to our new home." I could barely contain my excitement. "Our dream home, Aaron. The one we talked about with the porch swing, the big backyard, the—" "You bought a house?" His voice was sharp, his eyes snapping up to meet mine. "Yes. Isn't it amazing?" He stared at me, his jaw tightening. "Ellie, what were you thinking? We didn't agree to this." "Not yet, but—" "Not ever." His tone was icy now. I froze, my smile faltering. "What do you mean?" Aaron set the folder down, rubbing his temples. "Ellie. I can't move into that house. I can't move forward with you." "What?" I blinked, the room spinning slightly. He leaned forward, his elbows on his knees, avoiding my gaze. "I wasn't planning on telling you like this. But I need to be honest. I've been seeing someone else." For a moment, I couldn't process what he'd said. The words felt distant, like static from a broken radio. "You, what?" "I've been seeing someone else," he repeated, his voice quieter now. The room fell silent except for the sound of my heartbeat thundering in my ears. "How long?" I finally asked, my voice barely a whisper. "Almost a year," he admitted, his gaze dropping to the floor. I laughed bitterly, a sharp, humorless sound. "A year. Wow. And you just decided not to mention it?" "I didn't know how," he said. "Oh, I'm sorry. Did cheating on me make you tongue-tied?" I snapped, my voice rising. "A year, Aaron? Do you even understand what I've been doing all this time? Working overtime, scrimping, saving every penny." "Ellie, stop." He held up a hand. "This isn't about money." "No, it's about us," I shouted, tears welling in my eyes. "Or, I guess it was about us. Clearly, you've been busy with someone else." His silence was louder than any argument. I took a step back, the manila folder still in my hands. Who is she? I demanded. It doesn't matter, he said. It matters to me. He hesitated, then said quietly, her name is Rachel. She works at my firm. Oh, of course she does. Of course. My chest heaved as I tried to keep from crying. How long have you been planning this? Huh? How long have you been planning to leave me? I wasn't, he trailed off, his expression pained. You weren't what? Going to tell me? Or were you planning to keep lying to my face while I made a fool of myself? I threw the folder onto the coffee table, papers scattering everywhere. I didn't know how to end things, he admitted. I didn't want to hurt you. Well, congratulations, Aaron. You nailed it. He stood, his hands stuffed into his pockets, his posture slouched. I'm sorry, Ellie. Don't you dare say you're sorry. My voice cracked. Do you even understand what you've done? I trusted you. I built a life around you. I didn't mean for it to happen, he said quietly. Right. Because affairs are just accidents, I spat. Aaron flinched but didn't argue. I stared at him, searching his face for some sign of the man I thought I knew. But he wasn't there. He'd been gone for a long time, replaced by someone I didn't recognize. You should go, I said finally, my voice hollow. Ellie. Get out. He hesitated, but when I pointed to the door, he finally moved, grabbing his coat and keys. He turned back, lingering in the doorway, as if waiting for me to say something that would let him off the hook. Don't, I said firmly, my voice breaking but resolute. Don't you dare look at me like that. Like you're the victim in this. Ellie, he began, his tone soft, almost pleading. No, I cut him off, standing my ground. You don't get to say anything else. You've said enough. Now, go. He hesitated again, his hand tightening on the doorknob. For what it's worth, I never meant to hurt you. I barked out a laugh, sharp and bitter. Well, mission not accomplished, Aaron. Just go play house with Rachel or whoever the hell she is. Leave me to deal with this disaster you made of my life. His jaw clenched, but he said nothing more. The door clicked shut behind him, and the silence that followed was deafening. I stood there for a long moment, staring at the door, as if expecting him to come back and say it was all a mistake. But of course, he didn't. The air in the room felt thick, suffocating. I dropped onto the couch, staring blankly at the mess of papers on the coffee table. My dream house, the house I'd worked so hard for, lay in disarray, just like my life. The buzzing of my phone on the kitchen counter snapped me out of my daze. I dragged myself to it, half hoping it was Aaron, though I didn't know if I'd answer. It wasn't him. It was Maya, my best friend. I stared at her name on the screen, hesitating. I didn't want to talk about it yet. I didn't even know where to start. But Maya was relentless, and after a few more rings, I caved. Hey, I said, trying to sound normal and failing miserably. Ellie? What's wrong? Maya asked immediately. She always saw right through me. I swallowed hard, the tears threatening to spill over again. It's Aaron, I whispered. What did he do? Her tone turned sharp, protective. He's been cheating on me, Maya, I said, the words tumbling out before I could stop them. For a year. And he's leaving me for her. What the hell, she practically shouted. Are you kidding me? That piece of, oh my God, Ellie, are you okay? Where is he? Did you kick him out? He just left, I said, collapsing back onto the couch. And, Maya, you won't believe this. I bought a house. A freaking house. To surprise him. There was a pause on the other end of the line, and then she groaned. Oh, Ellie. I'm so sorry. What an absolute. I don't even have words for him right now. Me neither, I admitted, my voice shaky. I don't know what to do, Maya. I feel like such an idiot. Don't you dare say that, she snapped. You are not an idiot. You're a loving, thoughtful person who did something amazing. If anything, he's the idiot for throwing it all away. God, I wish I could strangle him. I let out a half laugh, half sob. Get in line. Listen, she said, her voice softening. You don't have to figure everything out tonight. But you're not going through this alone, okay? I'm coming over. Right now. No, you don't have to. Ellie, she interrupted, try and stop me. I'll be there in 20. The call ended before I could argue. I sat there, staring at the phone, feeling a tiny flicker of relief. Maya always had my back, even when the world felt like it was crumbling around me. 15 minutes later, there was a knock at the door. When I opened it, there she was, clutching a bottle of wine in one hand and a pint of ice cream in the other. Emergency supplies, she said, her face a mix of fury and sympathy. You're a lifesaver, I said, pulling her into a hug. We moved to the couch, and I told her everything, the house, the affair, the gut-wrenching moment Aaron admitted it all. Maya listened, her expressions ranging from disbelief to anger to outright murderous intent. Okay, first of all, screw him, she said when I finished. Second, let's talk about this house. You bought it, right? It's yours? Yeah, I said, wiping my eyes. It's mine. Good, she said firmly. Because that house isn't tied to him. It's tied to you. And you know what? You don't need him to make it a home. You'll make it amazing on your own. I looked at her, a spark of hope breaking through the despair. You really think so? I know so, she said, squeezing my hand. This is the start of your fresh chapter, Ellie. You deserve so much better than that lying, cheating. Okay, we get it, I said, cutting her off with a watery smile. She grinned. Sorry. I just really hate him. Yeah, I said softly. Me too. And as we sat there, sharing wine and laughter through the tears, I realized Maya was right. The house wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of something new.